The White House gets blowed up pretty good, along with countless other buildings and landmarks, all seemingly within the United States, despite this being supposedly a global alien invasion. In Roland Emmerich's sci-fi action adventure special effects spectacle Independence Day, that's today's review. I have the DVD here, but it's probably on Netflix. I wanted to talk about this movie a little bit today because as I do this video, of course, upcoming this summer, we're going to be getting a sequel, Independence Day Resurgence. And I got to say, I'm pretty excited for it because it always seemed weird to me that this movie, it never got a sequel, which, I mean, I know critics poo-pooed it a little bit, but it was a huge hit, and audiences loved it. Like, I even remember when it was out, like, they did this kind of, I'd say, unique marketing campaign where they sort of did not so much like man on the street commercials, but like almost like testimonials, like you'd see from like, you know, lawyer commercials where they like get settlements and stuff, where people are like, oh, one of the most inspiring and touching movies of this year was Independence Day for me. Whatever. Maybe they're on YouTube. Check them out. But it always seemed weird, but I guess they moved on to other things. Like Roland Emmerich and company went on to other disaster movies like Godzilla, which was well worth their time, and Day After Tomorrow, 2012. But they're coming back with Independence Day Resurgence. So I wanted to revisit this movie. And you'll get a lot of people saying, oh, well, you know, it's all nostalgia or whatever. It's just yet another movie like Jurassic World, like Star Wars. They're cashing in on the nostalgia kind of trip, which I suppose is true in some ways, because I'm sure many people, myself included, fondly remember this from childhood. I was maybe like 8 or 9 when it came out, and I love the shit out of the movie. And you know what? I still do. I really do. And I feel like I even have like a higher appreciation of it now than I did back then, because back then, you know, it was just a cool movie, explosions, whatever. But I feel like they've done kind of a really good thing with kind of mixing genres a little bit, updating genres just a little bit, because to be fair, you do kind of have to look at it in sort of a context of, well, at this time, I think movies kind of died down in their love affair with just Martians like attacking Earth and blowing shit up. Now, or at least at that point, aliens were kind of good. Like, you know, we had Close Encounters, E.T., of course, more recent movies at the time like The Abyss, Contact with Jodie Foster. Like, the aliens were kind of good, even though at that time special effects were so advanced. You know, it would seem like a huge opportunity to update those special effects and do something really cool, which this movie had the smarts to do. So of course we have updated special effects. We have very convincing special effects of big spaceships, explosions, dogfights in canyons, and really cool stuff. But also they update it in sort of a way where, okay, it feels a little bit more legitimate, and they kind of give it a more casual kind of feel by sticking some humor in it, like right away, even from the very first scenes. You know, we have the obligatory scene where, you know, NASA or whatever, you know, corporation gets like the transmission, and they're like, what is this? Meanwhile, like the guy, the head of everything, he like wakes up in the middle of the night, knocks his head, and couldn't get up in the morning, or like trips on a golf ball, and silly things like that. And like, It's the End of the World as We Know It by REM is playing on the radio. 1996 was the resurgence of REM's It's the End of the World as We Know It, by the way. You'd hear it blasting everywhere. Anyway, so they fit in a little bit a little bit of humor in it, and casual kind of feel to it, more down to earth kind of feel to it, and they brought a broader sense of the main characters. Like, we have a lot of characters, like, you know, the President of the United States, Bill Pullman, he's a character. You know, Joe Schmo in the military who wants to be an astronaut, Will Smith, he's a main character. Even, like, you know, a trailer park resident is a main character. A stripper is a main character. So we have all these characters. So in a way that in addition to the way that it's kind of updates the sort of 1950s Martians attacking, blasting lasers, it also kind of brings back kind of the disaster epic from the 70s type of movie, where it was a special effects spectacle, but it also had a whole bunch of characters, a star-studded cast with all their little arcs and things like that, kind of like the Poseidon Adventure, the Towering Inferno, Airport, what have you. So it kind of speaks to that too, which I don't even know if it was intentional. I'm pretty sure, I mean, especially judging from the movies to follow from Roland Emmerich and company. I think they just wanted to make a cool special effects action extravaganza, but here almost by accident they made a better movie than they set out to do, maybe. But the cast is exceptional. Bill Pullman, Will Smith, Jeff Goldblum, Mary McDonnell, Vivica Fox, Judd Hirsch, great supporting cast, and Robert Loggia, James Reborn, kind of as the traitor, sort of the only like human bad guy, sort of, who's always like the authority figure in movies like Scent of a Woman, Carlito's Way, and also he was the lawyer who brought the characters in Seinfeld to justice in the season finale of Seinfeld. Anyway. Who else we got? Randy Quaid. Remember when we loved Randy Quaid and he wasn't a fucking crazy maniac? Those were good days. Christmas Vacation, Kingpin, Independence Day. We miss you, Randy. Come back to us, Randy. Who else? Harvey Fierstein. He's like one of my favorite parts of the movie. Like, I gotta call my mother and my lawyer. Forget my lawyer. By the way, you can like totally tell it's an 80-yard line where he really said, fuck my lawyer. Anyway, oh, and one more thing. The little girl, the president's daughter, is actually Mae Whitman, who you may know as Anne Veal from Arrested Development, or the lesbian from Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Anyway, cast is great. That's what I'm trying to say here. Exceptional cast. And, of course, at the time, Will Smith, his star was rising, you know? I think only prior to this, his big movie was Bad Boys, so this was kind of like proof that he could open a huge movie like this, and he delivers on that. So I like all the characters and their little arcs. It's kind of, you know, just to the point. But there are good character moments here and there. They have their little arcs. I, like the kind of redemption of the Randy Quaid character and his family and him becoming a hero. And I like the fact that, Will Smith's character wants nothing more than to be an astronaut. But finally he gets his chance and flies in the alien spaceship and stuff like that. And Bill Pullman and his wonderful speech, "Today we celebrate our Independence Day," so that's great. And Jeff Goldblum reuniting with his estranged wife or his divorced wife. I'm not sure if he's just divorced or estranged, whatever. But there's good little arcs here and there, and characters meet each other here and there. And I think it's really good. But, I mean, needless to say, it's the special effects and awesome action that you're going into this movie for. And it delivers on that. And at the time, 1996, still CGI quite wasn't where it is now, where you could do a full-scale CGI landscape, you could blow it all up, it would be, all digital. Here, there are models being used for both, the spaceships and as well as the buildings, explosions, things like that. So I think we do get a great marriage between practical and CGI effects. So I think the special effects still really hold up. Maybe here and there are some things that don't quite look as good. Like, I'll say the alien designs, like when we actually see the aliens, I mean, obviously they're overcompensating because, their spaceships are powerful, but, one of them gets knocked out in one punch by Will Smith. He's like, "Welcome to Earth." And he just goes down like a bitch, and I don't know, they kind of look sort of very much H.R. Geiger inspired or ripped off, you could say. But then again, there's a good scene. The guy who plays Data on Star Trek, he plays like the wacky scientist who's been shut in for years in Area 51. Of course, they visit Area 51 in the movie, and it attacks, and it's kind of a cool scene. But there are just great moments. It kind of feels like a combination of, you have this updated version of flying saucer attack movies. Even kind of feels sort of like Star Wars when they're actually like attacking the ships, in the canyon, flying around. So it kind of feels like that a little bit. So it's this great kind of adventure epic, this great star-studded cast with all their little arcs. I think it's a really good movie. I really enjoy it. And, if you want to read into it a little bit more, at the time, I mean, people will accuse a lot of movies today, it's the obligatory PC kind of casting, things like that. Especially recently with the new Star Wars movie, like, oh, they have to have a black guy, they have to have a woman character, da 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 da. It's like, settle down, bro. But I mean, there's something to say. Well, okay, we have a black guy and a Jewish guy. They're saving the world. That's something. So I like that. And obviously, I mean, one, Will Smith is just cast because he's Will fucking Smith. He's amazing. He's awesome. He's cool. He's the best. Everyone loves Will Smith. And Jeff Goldblum kind of riding off the success of Jurassic Park, where it's like, let's take this guy who's not normally in like action spectacles, but put him in it anyway and see what happens. And it's to a wonderful result here. Of course, Bill Pullman. If he ran for president, I'd vote for him. I don't know. Well, I'm Canadian, so I guess I couldn't. Anyway, I think it's a good movie. I think it's worth checking out. I think it holds up. I would rate Independence Day 3.5 stars out of 4. It has great action, great characters, great spectacle, and it's hugely entertaining, and that's really what it's all about. I don't think it's a masterpiece, but it's a damn fun ride. So that's my review. Definitely worth checking out before the sequel comes out. I guess they're going to call it ID4 too, maybe? That'll be the, like, if you don't have enough time to say Independence Day, all those syllables. Or if you just can't spell it, like I have a problem. It's like, is it Independence ENCE or ANCE? Whatever. If you just are pressed for time, ID4, and then ID4... I guess ID4R. Anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about. That's my review of Independence Day. I really like the movie. I think it holds up. I don't think it just has to do purely with nostalgia, though maybe it's a small portion of it. But check it out if you haven't seen it in a while. It's well worth revisiting. Again, it's probably on Netflix, so seek that out before the sequel comes. Before even bigger spaceships that are all CGI come back to settle the score. So, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, comment, rate, subscribe, all that good stuff. Stay tuned for more, and until next time, I'll see you later.